So let's start at how you forgive and how you forgive yourself. How do you forgive? You say put yourself in a box.
So I think you actually put anyone that's harming you or any of the emotions that are not helping you move forward. I mean, that mentally for me, I just kind of put it in a box. I mean, in society, we do this with people that offend, right? We have prisons and they go into this box, and then that protects society from those people continuing to perpetrate harm. And I think mentally I had to do the same thing. I had just to make sure that,
Have you closed off? Have you dealt with your grief and you dealt with everything? When you say put it in a box, have you dealt with everything? How do you put it in a box and don't put it in a box? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the temptation is to keep opening it up, right? To keep dredging up the past. But it's just this mental exercise.
I just want to make sure I'm clear, because I admire you so much, but I want to make sure we're clear here, because I'm an alcoholic, and one of the reasons is I had a mother committed suicide. I got to blame it on anything else. I had my own issues. But I put a lot of my own things that I even did myself in a box. I'm like, it doesn't matter. And after a while, that box just starts coming at you. So you're not talking about that. You are dealing with the issues, but once you deal with them, you move on.
You move on, yeah.
You can say it on this program. It's the atonement.
Yes, very much so.
All right. Have you thought about, am I doing more harm by not letting someone feel the ramifications? Have you thought of that?
No, I think that was that experiences that I had when I was a 16-year-old. I mean, I lived with that and continue to live with that throughout my life. And so,
did the family forgive you?
I don't know that they felt that was, purposeful or that it was intentional. So that wasn't so much about forgiveness, but they struggled actually after that, and so it was hard for them. But they did write. She wrote an amazing letter just shortly after, just kind of hoping and encouraging me to keep moving forward, not letting that be this defining moment.
How
in my
long
life.
Into the accident, or into this process, did that experience play a role?
Well, I think it was probably by that point. It was probably just part of who I was, so it was probably immediate.
What was the meeting like with you? When he came, what were you feeling before him?
I was extremely nervous. I was facing the man that I had done this to, and I think he had a different viewpoint on that, because...
Did you know he had a different viewpoint on that?
I had no idea. I had never met him before.
What did you say? What did you say? Who spoke first? Who said something of substance first?
I think you went through your questions.
I asked questions.
Just how that, and I just responded about the impact. I mean, the changes that my family had endured since that crash, because it's been difficult, absolutely difficult. And so I wanted to make sure I just, as honestly as I could, portray all of that, the pain and everything else that we've kind of gone through, as well as the good stuff that's happened since.
And when did you realize I'm dealing with something extraordinary here? That I'm seeing a person on the other end that does not condemn me.
To be honest, deep down, I knew that from the beginning. It's kind of weird to explain, but we actually made connections. I know Chris's wife's family. I grew up in the same ward as them.
For anybody who doesn't know, these guys are Mormon, and that's their church.
Yeah.
Ward is a local chapel or church.
But my parents actually made the connection. My sister called. My sister was in his ward and called my parents saying, we're doing a fast for Chris Williams. This is what had happened. And then my parents relayed to her, this is Cameron. This is your little brother that did this.
Oh my gosh. So what's come of this? Besides a book, what is your hope for the book? What is your hope that comes out of this?
So, I mean, the hope in the book ends with a challenge for people to kind of analyze what are the burdens that they carry daily that they shouldn't, that they should just absolutely let go of. And the hope is that the people that haven't forgiven themselves or haven't forgiven others, that carry that weight around every single day, that they'll let it go, they'll give it up. I mean, life's too short.
I have to tell you, I think no, I haven't been through what either of you been through, but I think your job may be harder than yours. Forgiving someone else is a lot easier than forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
You know, blocking yourself to that gift is the hardest part. What have you seen because you're speaking now, you're going around and speaking.
Correct.
This has changed your life because you believe there's something great coming from him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going speaking.
I have, yeah.
What have either one of you seen because of this that's good? What miracle has come out of this?
So I had an experience just recently up in Spokane, Washington, where I talked to a group of people, and afterwards there was a young woman came up, and she also had been on the other side of this whole forgiveness, where as a teenager she had taken some alcohol, got behind a wheel, drunk, and struck somebody. Now they didn't die, but the family of that individual has not forgiven her. In fact, they harbor a lot of anger and resentment towards her. And as we talked, she heard my message, and afterwards we talked one-on-one. She said, listening to you, this is the first time I've had hope that I can make something of my life, that there is a future for me. And as I looked at her, what astounded me is, this is a future mother. This is a future mother of children, really of mother of nations potentially. And for her to now have that hope, it's changed her life. And so if I can write a book or go talk to people or just get this message out, that you can have hope in the midst of tragedy or trial, then it's all worth it.
What do you think? What's the miracle that has come out of this?
I think there are multiple miracles, let alone, me as an example. I have become a completely different person because of this. And I've been able to go out and help other people and speak, and I've had multiple people approach me and let me know, this has changed my life. I've decided, and it may seem very simple, I've decided not to drink anymore. Kids in high schools. And that's the key. If they make that simple decision, then they're not going down that same path anymore. It's impacted people.
Do you forgive or forgive and forget?
Boy, you can forgive, and I think you have to almost perpetually forgive at times, especially when the grieving gets amped up or is intensified. You have to continue to stay to that commitment. The forgetting's a difficult one because, this story involves, some of the greatest people in my life, my wife and 2 of my 4 children. And so, it's kind of back to the box. I want to make sure that the stuff that gets in that box are the stuff that I don't want to remember, and then I can forget it and move on. But there's a lot of pieces and parts that I want to hold on to that are sweet.
The name of the book is Let It Go. I can tell you that's the hardest thing to do in your life. But I can personally tell you, as a guy who has done it, it changes everything. I never faced what you guys faced, and you are amazing for what you've done. Share this with a friend. Maybe it's you, but share this with a friend. It's an amazing story and an amazing way to live your life. Let It Go, available on Amazon and bookstores everywhere. Thank you. Back in a minute.
Thanks.